please come to the podium to accept this Emmy for Lifetime Achievement, which reads, to Ted Koppel for over 4 decades of outstanding reporting on issues of global importance and for his pioneering contributions to the broadcast journalism profession. Ted, you can now read the revisions that I made to your draft of your acceptance.
Thank you. I would like to thank the woman masquerading as my wife here this evening. I must say I was a little bit taken aback that she would, in the presence of all of you, and more to the point, in the presence of our children, reveal the fundamental secret of our chemistry. I'm only relieved that I had the foresight to take 2 Cialis this evening. Excuse me. I'm terribly sorry. Hello? No, really, it's, excuse, I can't, no, I know that, no, I do, I understand. I know, Mrs. Giuliani, you were supposed to interrupt Rudy in the middle of his speech, but Rudy isn't speaking here tonight. Well, that's... I have a few more things to say about Grace Ann, but we'll defer those for a couple of minutes. The immediate challenge is to get past the predictability of saying thank you to so many people. Some wit once observed that the only real difference between an occasion like this and a funeral is that at a Lifetime Achievement Award there is actually one person present who believes everything that has been said about him. Ellie, I dearly love you, but you are too generous in your praise. I just want everyone here to understand that Elie Wiesel's excessive kindness to me is simply a function of his goodness and should provide absolutely no reason to question his credibility in other matters. Leroy, your heroic and very public battle against cancer have now confirmed for millions what your friends have always known. Your heart matches, possibly even exceeds, your great physical stature. You are a great executive producer. You're an even greater inspiration to your friends, and I thank you for being here tonight. Rick, you slut. You took Nightline from its beginnings as a very good news program and brought it to occasional greatness. As I look back on nearly 50 years in this business, 2 of the highlights, which you have already mentioned, are surely what you caused us to do in starting a dialogue between Jews and Palestinians in Israel and in bringing black and white South African leaders into the same forum in Johannesburg. In that sense, I'm here tonight reaping the benefits of Rick's work, Leroy's work, and, of course, my friend Tom Batak's work. Our partnership, Tom, as friends and colleagues, is longer than any of the others. It is a testament to your strength and endurance and patience. Executive producers, as all of you here tonight know, do most of the heavy lifting, absorb all the criticism from management, and then step graciously aside to avoid distracting attention when the anchor accepts the awards. Tom, you do all of those things with grace and skill and inevitably with bewildering humility. I thank you. I want the three of you to know, and everybody here I know already understands, that I understand what you've done for me over the years, and that I would not be standing here tonight without these three men. And I might add, a lot of the young men and women who worked with me at Nightline have come and joined me now at Discovery, and I also know how indebted I am to all of you. Thank you. Did Stuart slip out of here already? Well, anyway, I asked John to join us here this evening because I consider him to be a friend, but also because he has become a symbol of our times. Humor is always the last refuge of truth. I've compared what Jon Stewart does to the work of a great editorial cartoonist. Essential, but never intended to replace the front page. If Jon Stewart ever ends up replacing all of us here, it'll be our fault, not his. My thanks to Bill Small and the other members of the Academy. I know this has involved an enormous amount of work, and you have done me great honor, for all of which I thank you. Bill was a giant of our industry in the days when the American public relied almost entirely on CBS, NBC, and ABC News for its television news. Still, as he would be, I think, the first to acknowledge, it's easy to get too dreamy-eyed about our past. Howard K. Smith, whose courageous commentaries about racism in Birmingham, Alabama, outraged the CBS affiliate down there, was forced to leave CBS when he refused to back down. Fred Friendly left his post as president of CBS News when he couldn't convince management to provide live coverage of some critical Senate hearings on the Vietnam War. We sometimes forget that business people invest in television because it is such a brilliant vehicle for selling products. The programming, including news, that fills in the gaps between commercials has the principal purpose of bringing viewers into the store to buy those products. Once we understand the priorities, the motives of management in program selection are anything but obscure. The miracle personified by so many of you who were nominated here this evening, those of you who lost as well as those of you who won. The miracle is that so much excellence survives. Profit and conscience can coexist. You all are proof of it. But we have never lived in more perilous times. We need more coverage of the world, not less. The internet, which now gives each individual with a laptop the potential reach and power that was once held only by the networks, is a technological miracle. But the technology of the internet is valuable only insofar as the content it conveys is reliable and substantive. Otherwise, as Ed Morrow famously observed about television, it is merely lights and wires, and now we would have to add microchips in a box. It may still be too early to say how the changing technologies will affect what we do and how we do it, but you, the reporters and producers, the storytellers, are still the ones we all depend on. In the final analysis, it is not the medium, but the message that's critical. And I would add story selection. We cannot remain a great country if the principal focus of our industry becomes only the trivial. We have, all of us, put our families, our significant others, through long absences and enormous stress. Let it at least be in behalf of something worthwhile. Which brings me back to my beloved wife, Grace Ann. Periodically, as I suspect many wives do, she will say to me, "So, how much do you love me?" And I found that after the first 5 years or so, this much didn't cut the mustard anymore. And once, about 5 years ago, when she asked the question, in a moment of inspiration, I said to her, "Any place you're not's a place I wouldn't want to be." Man, I thought, that's actually pretty good. So good, in fact, that I thought it deserved, it sounded a little bit like a country western song. So I wrote a song around it. Yes, you need something, don't you, at this point in the evening. I promise this is the end. Grace Ann, my dear, if you don't think that making a total ass of myself in front of all my friends and colleagues here is proof of the fact that I love you, then nothing will do it for you. So here, without further ado, is... You took my ring in New York City, I took your hand in Rome. Hong Kong that spring was awfully pretty, Tuscany seemed like home, but any place you're not's a place I wouldn't want to be. It's just a joint, so what's the point if you're not there with me? Not at all. There are 2 more verses before you get to go home, folks. When we were young, they called it Saigon, but now it's Ho Chi Minh. It's time to let those byes be bygone. That's one we didn't win. And any place you're not's a place I wouldn't want to be. Old name or new, I'm just as blue if you aren't there with me. We made it through some stormy weather, our share of fare as well. You always knew we'd stay together. I thought that time would tell. Well, any place you're not's a place I wouldn't want to be. Guess I was wrong, so here's your song. And please hold on to me.
The recording will be out sometime next week.